Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'm proud of Bobby. You want to know the truth? I don't think I've ever introduced anyone that got applause like he just got. I must tell you. For the past 16 months, Bobby has run an extraordinary campaign for President of the United States. I know, because he also went after me a couple of times. I didn't like it. His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. Bobby and I will fight together to defeat the corrupt political establishment and return control of this country to the people.
President Trump had been reaching out to me, and I talked to him a few hours after the assassination attempt, and we had a long conversation by phone. I then had 2 extensive meetings, and there were issues, the broad issues that were most important to me, the ones that brought me into the campaign, which was ending the Ukraine war, ending the censorship, and protecting children's health. We're all reforming our food supply, all the things that we need to do to make our children healthy again. Those are all things that President Trump also wanted to work on. And he invited me to form a unity government. We agreed that we'd be able to continue to criticize each other on issues on which we don't agree. But these issues are so important in their way of unifying our country. We need in this country to reach a point where we love our children more than we hate each other.
We need to love our children as much more than we hate each other. What an amazing statement. After I saw that today, I realized things had changed forever. Seriously, they've changed forever. This is driving people absolutely, just crazy. After the RFK Jr. endorsement of Trump, more and more people are going to be voting for Trump, obviously, but something else is happening. You're watching key elites defect to the Trump camp in real time, and you're going to see even more elites at a greatly accelerating rate over the next 2 months do the exact same thing. I don't think there's going to be any doubt. In fact, RFK Jr. pretty much erased those doubts of there being any doubt that more people would be getting in this thing. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see it happen. I'm encouraged to see it happen. And what I'm going to show you today is going to make you understand that it indeed is going to happen. You're going to see these people defect to the camp. You're going to see more and more of them over the next couple of months, because that's how these things work. At first it's a few, and then it becomes contagious. The Dems are powerful only because other people believe that they're powerful. They've been holding the carrot in front of people's faces for so long that so many people have been afraid to cross them. They've been afraid what the retribution would be if they dared, step off the plantation from the black voters' perspective, or how they could hurt them in business. But now they're actually beginning to lose that fear. And the Democrats can't take it. They are freaking out. Absolutely freaking out. And it's all because of what happened. Now understand, Kamala had her chance. She had the ability, because I understand he reached out to her first, but she wanted to go head fast into this communism thing, and he wasn't down for it. Not at all. She wouldn't even return his phone calls, is what we've been told. And now the dam is breaking. It is probably forever broken, in my opinion. I'm seeing people who I never thought would be getting behind Trump. I'm going to show you some of that today. There's no turning back at this point. The people are breaking the shackles of power that they've been handcuffed with for decades. I'm absolutely loving it, because they're actually seeing, you know what? I don't have to just suck up to these people anymore. If you're a powerful man or a powerful woman, and it looks like right now that the Democrats' power structure is folding, and that carrot that they held over your head is no longer going to be there, you are now going to be empowered to make an independent choice. You can look at it and say, maybe I'm going to go with the candidate that actually makes better choices, someone who's going to do better for my interests than have to follow the Democrat plan because I'm afraid of what will happen. And then people are starting to wonder, who's better for my best interest? Am I drawn to this guy who's a little bit, brash, but then again, he got shot in the head and showed what a leader really is? Or am I going to go with this DEI retard? This woman who has no idea what she's doing, who's a cackling bubblehead, who can't even do a press conference, can't meet with anybody in the media. Why would anybody get behind her? Now, I'm not going to say she's a drunk. I've got no evidence of that, except maybe all the cackling. And I'm not going to say Tim Walz is a horse shake specialist because, again, there's no evidence. Well, actually, there's evidence, but there's been no rebuke, so I don't know what's going on with him. No idea what's going on with him. But you can tell at this point that the dominoes are falling. How do you know this? Why do you think Beyonce never showed up? You got to think that to yourself. Why did Beyonce, she let her use her song Freedom, but she didn't show up to the DNC? Why did Obama, both of them, Michelle and Barack, bounce out after they gave their speech and didn't hang around till Thursday? Why did Hillary and Bill not stay around? You look at it even further, why has Taylor Swift been so quiet? You see, the narrative, the megaphone, and the muzzle that these people have used to beat people over the head is beginning to fail. You see, we are all the media now. No matter how big your corner of the world is. I'm about to break 275,000 subscribers, but it doesn't mean anything because if you have 50 subscribers, you are now the media. We are all now journalists. They can't silence us. It's driving them crazy. They may be able to silence me. They may be able to silence Fred, but they can't silence all of us. But more importantly, they can't silence Elon. They can't silence Tulsi Gabbard. They can't silence RFK Jr. They can't silence Tucker. And now they've learned they can't silence Alex Jones. And they definitely can't silence Donald Trump. As more elites begin to feel the release from their own self-imposed peer-based oppressions, you're going to see many more defections to Trump coming soon. And I do mean many more. And I'm going to show you some things today that's going to prove that to you. It's amazing in just a little bit of time, 48 hours or so, how many people I run across, you've probably run across them, who are like, you know what? It's time to take down the Democrat Party. I'm just wondering, I don't know if you guys have come across it yet, I just wonder how many Republicans at this point are kind of feeling weird. You got to wonder about that because their power structure, the old Rhino group, their power structure is in peril at this point too. You keep hearing the Unity Party. They are creating something different. Obviously, I've mentioned the word coalition many times. I'll keep mentioning it because that's what's happening. They are building a coalition. And it's got to be terrifying to these people who have been in Washington for decades, and now they're seeing what the heck is going on. Trump has mobilized an army, and I keep using my Lord of the Rings analogy, but it's true. If you've watched the movie, I'm not making it up, you can actually see what's happening in real time. You've got one evil force that has been leading this country down the tubes. In fact, they said today Biden's going on another vacation, so I don't even know who's leading the country at this point. But you've got this evil force of people that have control of the government, they've got control of the media, they've got control of the military, and you've got us patriots, us Trumpians out here like, no, we're not going to take it anymore. I don't know if you guys saw, but they threw the founder and CEO of Telegram in jail over in France because he's letting people talk freely. People know at this point that Elon Musk is as much a target as Trump is. So obviously, when you see all this stuff going on, you understand that it has to be a coalition. I'm going to keep saying this over and over and over until everybody swallows it and accepts it. I don't give a shit what RFK Jr.'s problems are. I don't care what Elon's problems are. I don't care what you think about Vivek. That doesn't matter anymore. The sole objective everybody has to get behind at this point is to mobilize, coalesce, and take down the Democrats. That's it. There's no more, what about, this platform or that platform? Doesn't matter. Roll up your sleeves, get ready to fight, take the Democrats out, stomp them out, eliminate them, eradicate them electorally, not physically. So I feel it's incumbent upon me to continue to tell you that. Stop. Just stop with the animosity towards this person or that person, because 100% of your animosity should be directed at the Democrats. All of it. We can argue later if you feel that some of RFK Jr.'s policies aren't acceptable to you. Fine. He's not going to trash America. He may do some things you don't like. Trump may acquiesce and say, all right, we'll do that. You may not like it, but you know what? You'll still be doing it in America. Hey, Vivek may have some ideas he wants to give Trump, and Trump's like, all right, let's do that. And you're going to be like, oh, man, why are we doing this? You're doing it in America. You're still having a voice. You're not being censored. You're not being thrown in jail. We can outvote certain policies. If he goes too far, you don't like what he's doing, yeah, we'll find someone else to vote in 2028. Right now, doesn't matter. What's heading down the track at you, and you should see the big light coming, is that if this woman gets in power, all bets off, we've lost America. Barry, you're being over dramatic. Am I? A woman tells you what she's all about. I want to redistribute all of your money. I want to tax you up the yin yang. I want to make sure that as many babies are disposed of as possible. I want to make sure that children, little children, are exposed to as many different alternative lifestyles as possible. And if you're getting away and you're a parent, we'll take your child away from you. Yeah, we're going to give your money to newcomers. We're going to give your money to fight foreign wars. We're going to do all that. Meanwhile, you're going to suffer because we're going to keep taking your money. You're going to own nothing and be happy. I'll take RFK Jr.'s quirky policies way over that stuff. I can deal with that. I don't have a problem dealing with that. I'm in America, like I can choose not to buy it or do what I want. Not going to be mandated. What you have to understand is where they're coming from. I'm astounded when I see certain Republicans and people saying, "Yeah, I just can't vote for Trump." So you're voting for the demise of America. You are voting for the elimination of your consideration. I like that. I made that up. The elimination of your consideration. Barry, what does that mean? Because the thoughts you have today, you can't own them next January if she gets in. It won't matter what your consideration is. It won't matter what your thoughts are. You're going to enter into 1984. You're going back to the future. So you can stand on your platform right now and scream about Trump, Orange Man bad. Or you can say, Orange Man isn't my favorite, but at least he's going to save America. And he's putting together a coalition to do it. That's my how they say in television, that's my monologue. But I played this video yesterday, and I just played it in its entirety. I didn't comment on it. I want to play this video, and I want you to, if you haven't seen it, you're going to love it. If you have seen it, I want you to focus on a few points. I'm gonna basically dive into this video because I didn't put up this thumbnail and the title of this video just to be, hyperbolic. I put it up there because, yes, I believe this coalition that they are building is going to be unbeatable. And I just don't mean in this election. I mean worldwide. We are going to build a coalition that is unbeatable. And when you hear, make sure you stay to the end because there's some stuff that RFK Jr. says that's going to make your eyes go, what? I guarantee you, if you haven't been around or you're not a news junkie like me, you probably haven't seen what he said. The other thing is, I noticed today there wasn't a whole lot of talk on these news shows about RFK Jr. They are terrified. They are freaking out. They don't even know how to handle it. They sent out a couple lackeys, which I'll show you, but not a whole lot. But let's get into this video.
I'm sure you will know the source of this. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free
and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment.
That was said in 1961. 60-something years ago. Yeah, it would be 63 years ago. John F. Kennedy said, hey man, we got a problem here. They're going to want to censor you. You can't let this happen. We can't move forward with this kind of government. We have to change it. We have to make sure that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren don't fall victim to where this type of government is headed.
This particular speech is very prophetic.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about secrecy and secret societies in the sense of, during the times of 1963 to 68, there was 4 assassinations. 2.
I'm going to stop him there. There were 4 assassinations that we know of. There were 4 high-profile, visible, in public executions that we know of. We have no idea what may have happened in clandestine manners. Stuff that we have no idea about. People that's all of a sudden are dead. But we don't know what they've done or who has done what. It's been all secret. The only ones we know are the ones we actually saw in public. Like, oh my God, they blew this guy's head off. The president, right in front of television. Like they were going to do to somebody else, right in front of the television cameras. So remember that. These are just the 4 ones that were publicly displayed.
Whom were family members of yours, and the other 2 who were family members of mine.
Malcolm and Martin.
Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Now,
Can I ask you a question? 1968 was supposedly when this stuff stopped. Because MLK was 68, and I believe Malcolm X was 68. You think they stopped? I want you to really consider that. It did well. It worked. We eliminated these 4 people in a public fashion. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, this feels pretty good. I'm just getting comfortable with this. We can do this? Yeah. We're getting away with this? Yeah. Nobody's talking about it? No, they're talking about it. We just tell them shut up. Wow. Yeah, I'm getting comfortable with this, said the people in that room. As an adult now, if you're, depending on what your age is, you're looking back, you think they went through 4 successful, public, high-profile executions and then said, yeah, we're good. We won't do this anymore. We're done. We're the three-letter agencies. No reason for us to go any further. We've proven our point. We can do it to anybody we want. Remember the Godfather movie? I tell you about him all the time. I used to love the Godfather until Robert De Niro became a nut job. There's a line in the Godfather where Michael Corleone says, or is it Tom? It says, one thing that history has proven: anybody can be gotten to. That line, still to this day, just the goosebumps. Anybody can be gotten to. So that book was wrote by Mario Puzo. The film was by Francis Ford Coppola. Sure, they did some research before they made the movie, and they put that line in the movie. One thing history has shown us: anybody can be gotten to. How do we know that? Because we did 4 high-profile executions on television in front of people, and nobody stopped us. And I'm just letting you know, if you think that was it, they pulled the plug and said, we're done here. We don't need to do this anymore.
We talk about, the forces that your uncle laid out. Who do you think that he was speaking to? Because during the 60s, right, was one of the most powerful and pivotal times as far as leaders working to influence the future of America, right? And it seemed to be, these forces behind the scenes that some people call shadow government, some people call managerial class, right? There's all of these different names for it. But people think about who has the most power. Often people think that it is the president of the United States.
I want you to go back, well, if you want to, and look at some of the movies that were made in the late 60s, early 70s. Look at some of the books that were written in the 70s. We saw the movie The Bourne Identity. That was 80s, early 90s, I think those movies were, by an author named Robert Ludlum. Look up who Robert Ludlum is and what he was talking about. Where do you think that idea came from? Where did you think, what was it called? Blackstone, I think Brownstone, whatever it was that Matt Damon was a part of? Briarstone? I forget what the name of it was. And how they took this young guy in the Army and they basically brainwashed him. And let him think that, you were an asset. And then they had assets all over the world whose sole job was to take people out. So no, they didn't stop after those 4 high-profile things. They didn't need to go high-profile anymore. Do you know what that briar patch, whatever it was, look it up. But they were alluding to something. They were alluding to a government program called MK Ultra. Am I still on here? Still live? Yeah, okay. Go look up MK Ultra. Not a conspiracy theory. Go look it up. See what was done and how that brainwashing was made, entrenched in where the government was going, and how they used those assets. There was another movie made back with Charles Bronson, late 70s, maybe mid 70s, called Telephone. Go look up that movie, Telephone. Where'd these guys come up with these concepts? I watched that movie, Telephone, long time ago and went, whoa, this is pretty cool. Oh, that's some sci-fi stuff. They've been telling you. They've been doing these disclosures for years. Hey, man, yeah, it's just a movie. Really? Go look up these movies. Go watch The Manchurian Candidate. Go watch Shooter. There's all these movies that people think are just, movies. They couldn't possibly be soft disclosures. They couldn't possibly be outlining what the future is, or future was, and now the present is. You really think that some 20-year-old loser was able to crawl up on a roof in the middle of a park grounds with tens of thousands of people around, just waltzing across the grass, somehow climb up onto this roof while nobody stopped him, lay down on this roof, and took some shots at President Trump. This 20-year-old kid, loser. Look into this stuff. This stuff is scary.
So why would he have such a veiled speech in a manner, right, about secrecy and secret orders and secret oaths and secret proceedings, right? What was he alluding to?
Just so that people know, that speech was my uncle, John F. Kennedy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, and, you know, I think he was warning us against the world that we now live in, which is...
He was warning us against the world we now live in today. It has become reality. All of the secret stuff, all of the clandestine things that they did over decades has now come to full fruition. And the only thing that's basically stopping them at this point is people talking. You realize that for, 40, 50 years, you had three choices. You watched Walter Cronkite on CBS, you watched Brinkley and the other guy on NBC, and then you watched ABC. That was it. And whatever they told you on those 30-minute broadcasts, that's it. That Walter Cronkite even said it to you. That's the way it is on Thursday, April 25th. That's the way it is. You ain't got to know anything else. I just told you what the news is. And for decades, we all just sat around going, oh, well, that's the news. Let's go have dinner. Hey, we got a newspaper here. We don't know where these stories came from. Oh, there's somebody who calls themselves, reporters. Oh, they report this. What aren't they reporting? I don't know. This is it. Go through this newspaper. That's it. That's all you need to know. Oh, okay. We're done here. 3 networks. I guess you can call PBS, but 3 networks. 6:30 and 11 o'clock. That's it. That's your news. And they counted on that because they could control it. Here's what you're going to report tonight. In a 30-minute newscast, you probably have, 10, 12 stories, and then you got to count the local stuff where the puppies and kittens. And that's it. That's all you get. See you tomorrow. That's it. That's the way it is. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you're too young, go look up an old Walter Cronkite episode of CBS News. Fast forward to the end. Watch what he says. His closing thing every single night was, that's the way it is. Oh, okay. You told me. That's the way it is. And now, we don't got to wait for the news. That secrecy that they love, that confidentiality of not being questioned, that's what they're having a problem with. Like, what's this thing? Twitter. Oh my God, people are talking about stuff around the world, and they're posting pictures and videos. And this thing, YouTube, they're just posting videos and talking about stuff. Oh no, Facebook, they're all telling their friends. TikTok, oh, they're making 30-second clips of this stuff. We can't have this. If people see this shit, we're in big trouble. We don't want them to go home and watch the war. You guys remember that? During the Iran stuff back then? We used to make designations. What are you doing tonight? I'm going to have dinner and go home and watch the war. Desert Storm. We're going to watch this show. This show is live every single night. Boom, boom, oh, yeah, shock and awe. But they had to feed that to you. You had to wait until they told you what was happening. So, okay, I want you to go over to camera 1, pointed at that field right there. Oh, boom. What about what's going on over here? Shh, don't show anybody that, okay? If you show anybody that, we're going to have to cut your access. All right, well, just tell us where we need to point the camera. And that's how it was. That's how things evolved. And then Facebook started, and then on and on and on. And the government was like, oh, no, you ain't. We need to get in here. Oh, I'm sorry, Barry's talking too much on Facebook. Tell him he can't come back here. True story. My wife shared a couple things on Twitter back in Twitter 1.0. Oh, no, you got to go. They banned the friggin' president of the United States. That's when I knew, oh, we are in deep poop. At this point, they kicked Trump off of Twitter. We don't even want the president talking. He's dangerous. To who? Sorry. Throw away the key. He can't talk. And then this guy with $44 billion steps in, and now it's Telegram, and people are doing this and saying that, and oh my God, we're going to have to throw him in jail. We got to go back to the secret society where we controlled everything, where we told everybody that we landed on the moon.
One of his primary interests was keeping the country out of war. And he discovered very quickly into his administration that he was surrounded by an intelligence apparatus, military brass, who considered war with the Soviet Union not only to be inevitable, but also to be desirable and as quickly as possible.
So if you heard what he just said, not if, you heard what he just said. We've been fighting this imaginary war with Russia for 60 years. And they keep selling this to the American people over and over and over again. Putin this, Putin that. Trump's a Putin puppet. Tucker's a Putin puppet. Putin. Russian hookers. Seriously? Are you that stupid? 60 years? 60 friggin' years. We've been... might as well have just invaded them and just ended it. It would have been shorter. Would have been a lot less, but they couldn't. You needed to have that boogeyman. You needed to have the monster under the bed. And so they kept pushing it. Why? Because it was profitable.
Because at that point, we had a larger arsenal than the Soviet Union. He refused to go to Cuba in 61, and then again in 63 during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And then he refused in 62 the opportunity to go to war during the Checkpoint Charlie crisis in Germany.
Notice the word he used there. I want you to focus on that word. People choose their words wisely. He chose not to take the opportunity to go to war. Since when is war an opportunity? He's laying out a story here. RFK Jr. is a very, very intelligent man. You have to listen to people's words. That's why I wanted to go through this. He refused to take the opportunity to go to war. I don't know how many decisions you make in the course of a day, but I have the opportunity to drink from this cup. I have the opportunity to pet my dog. One of those things I don't want to do is make things that aren't good for me an opportunity. So if it's an opportunity, it means something that could benefit you or something that you'd like, something that you have an interest in. It wasn't defense. He had the ability to defend us from Russia. No, we have the opportunity to go mess with them. It's going to be worth it. We're going to make some money. Opportunity.
And he kept us out of Vietnam. He never sent a combat troop to Vietnam. And a month before he died, to the day, he signed National Security Order 263, ordering all the troops home from Vietnam. 30 days later, he was murdered.
Coincidence. Just a coincidence. 30 days later. What's interesting is go and see who rescinded that when they, took power.
And I think it was, he was referring to a group of people who were really robbing us of democracy. Democracy is about transparency because we own the government. The government has no business lying to us.
See, and the Democrat Party has completely flipped that around. Right now, the Democrats feel it's on a need-to-know basis. How many times have we seen, just in the last couple years, them do things you couldn't possibly do in court? Hey, you got a subpoena here. You got to show up and give testimony. I ain't going. What do you mean? You ain't got to go? Nope, not going. Knock on the door comes, the sheriffs come, and they tell you, we're going to take you to court. You got to spend the night first, but we'll take you to court in the morning. People in government, nope, just going to ignore the subpoena. Really? I thought you were going to be very transparent. Nope, hey, listen, we need to get a copy of these documents. Nope, ain't giving them to you. Really? What do you mean you ain't giving them to me? I thought nobody's above the law. The law says, here's a subpoena. The subpoena is given to you. If you've got nothing to hide, why don't you just give us the documents? Why do you obfuscate? Pretend as though these documents don't exist. I'm just not giving them to you. But you work for me. You work for the American people. We're telling you we want these documents. Nope, can't have them. You're seriously watched your rights erode over a couple of decades.
And now it lies, not only lies, but hides things every day. You see it. I mean, we saw congressional hearings this week in which David Morenz, who was the deputy to Anthony Fauci, had emails in which he was bragging that he had been coached by the Freedom of Information staff, by the chief Freedom of Information officer at NIH, how to hide his emails, how to destroy them in ways in which he couldn't be caught. So the transparency officer at that agency, the person who's in charge of making sure there's no secrets, was actually coaching high-level staffers how to keep secrets.
Of course they want to get this guy out the race. Of course they have to keep him quiet. Besides the stuff he knows just from his family. Now let me just talk about that. Everybody always talks about JFK. Everybody always talks about RFK. They were both, killed. Of course he knows about that. But not a lot of people talk about Teddy. That was his other uncle. You don't think his only surviving, well, I don't know if it's only, but surviving uncle also didn't tell him stuff and said, listen, I'm going to tell you, Bobby. I just want you to know, because in case something happens to me as well. They took out your dad and they took out my brother, but now I'm going to give you basically a dead man switch as well. You don't think the Kennedy clan had dead man switches all over the place after what they saw happen? So, Bobby, here's some information from this side, and I'm going to tell you even more how things have evolved. You don't think Bobby Kennedy's got just a treasure trove of this kind of information that Teddy also imparted upon him? You think Ted just ignored Bobby? No, I'm not telling him anything. Yeah, okay.
And, of course, if government is allowed to keep secrets, they're not working for us anymore. They're working for somebody else. They're either working in their own interests or they're working for some larger interest. And, I think that is the danger, that our democracy can be subverted. Teddy Roosevelt warned in 1903. He said, American democracy will never be destroyed by a foreign enemy. We're too powerful. We've got the oceans between us and any potential enemies. We have a very, very strong military, a huge economy. We simply cannot be conquered. But our democratic institutions and all the values of our country will be subverted by what he called malefactors of great wealth, who will steal them from within.
And he probably never thought that those oceans and skies would have our own government bringing the armies to us. He was absolutely right. There was no way we were probably going to be conquered. You got a vast ocean, actually two, one on either side, one below, that, we'd see people coming like a tornado, like a hurricane. Hey, I see what they're doing. We got radar, they got radar. It's not like it's Israel where these guys are next door. We got a whole ocean. So they're not going to be able to conquer us. Unless, of course, we let them conquer us. Hey, let's go ahead and bring 10, 12 million people, mostly men, across the southern border, and nobody can stop us. We'll just import them. We don't even have to do anything and show ships or invade. They're here. Where are they? I don't know. We lost them. We don't even know where these people are. We lost 300,000 babies. We don't know. What about the money? How are they getting weapons? Where all this fentanyl going? Have you thought about that? When they tell you that, a pill this much fentanyl can kill like 1,000 people, and they're bringing pounds and pounds and pounds and tons in? There ain't enough people to kill. What are you going to do with all this damn fentanyl? Unless you have an idea what you're going to do with all that fentanyl. God help us.
Who killed your uncle, right? Who killed your dad? And are they the same people that assassinated Martin Luther King and Malcolm X?
Yeah, and you know, most people don't know this, but Martin Luther King's family, Dexter and Marty and the rest of the family, Coretta Scott King, who was with me when my dad died, and who then, you know, was on the air.
This is very, very important. Yesterday when I played it, and I played it, just let it play, I was wondering how many people caught what he's about to say here.
Airplane when we brought my dad's body home from L.A. to New York, they sued. They did a lawsuit that received almost no publicity. You know, they won.
Meaning that they sued the government for the assassination of Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And won.
They won that suit, a civil suit.
Why would the government ever have settled a civil suit for the murder of someone they weren't involved in? And did you know that? So in essence, our government, who works for you, wrote a check to the King family and said, shit happens. Now shut up and take the money. Because I'm sure there was an NDA associated with it. But now Coretta Scott King is gone. She's departed the earth. And Bobby has that information. Imagine what that lawsuit says. Imagine what Coretta Scott King gave him. Imagine what their lawyers gave Bobby Kennedy and said, here's what we found in discovery. Here's what was been said. Here's testimony that nobody knows. No, you didn't see any Woodward and Bernstein digging into this, did you? Many of you probably have never heard this story. This man just made a video and said, our government settled a lawsuit saying they were basically, the word guilty would be convicted, so I can't use guilty, liable for the death of Martin Luther King, paid a settlement, and nobody knew. God help us. So, how many black people who basically stood and stood behind Martin Luther King have never heard the fact that their government basically admitted liability for Martin Luther King's death and paid his widow? I don't see, Trevor Noah talking about it. Don't see Steve Harvey talking about it. Definitely don't see Oprah talking about it. Obama's? We ain't talking about it. How did the federal government that works for you and me pay a settlement recognizing and acknowledging liability for the death of Martin Luther King? And keep it quiet until I just saw that video. I don't know. I'll look in the comments here in a second. But y'all need to tell me that one. I wanted the video to play yesterday because I was looking in the comments afterwards. I'm like, nobody picked up on that, huh? Y'all didn't realize that. I never heard it. In all my years on this planet, I didn't know that the United States government settled with the King family for Martin Luther King dying, being killed. I was stunned. And I'm like, why isn't that being broadcast everywhere now that she's passed? I think she passed like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So now there's no NDA. Who else knows about that? Oh, Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy knows about it. Now you know why they want him shut up.
The evidence that we have now is so voluminous, including confessions of probably 30 people who were involved in his assassination. A lot of them deathbed confessions, but...
So now they've got all these confessions about what happened with JFK. Why don't we know about that? Why didn't Trump even release this? We know why Biden didn't, But it's 2024, 61 years later, and everybody's like, we can't talk about this. Why not?
That clearly shows that there was CIA involvement.
That's why.
Harvey Oswald, the New York Times now admits this, was a CIA asset since, I think, 1957 or 58.
Notice the term asset. That's what I was telling you earlier.
And the CIA is still involved in covering up the final documents that are legally, the government legally is required. Congress passed a law saying that by 2018, all documents related to my uncle's assassination had to be released. And
a law. They are defying a law, not a subpoena, not a request. They are openly and ongoing defying a law.
The CIA will not allow that to happen. President Trump ran in 2016 and said he was going to release them all. He got into office and he changed his mind. President Biden made the same promise. He got into office and changed his mind. Why did they change their mind?
Great question. That's a question that Trump needs to answer. They need to do a Spaces. They need to, on X, bring in RFK Jr., Elon, and Trump and talk about this and go, okay, so why didn't you release it? Well, he could say maybe my advisor said don't do it. The country's not ready for it. No, we're ready for it. We need to know with great definition that our government, our paid people, decided to take out a sitting president. And now you didn't tell on them before and you still got shot at. So maybe now is the time for all of this stuff to come out.
What are they hiding?
If you were elected to be president, would you then release the files of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Robert F. Kennedy, and John F. Kennedy? And would you keep that promise, which is hard to say as a politician?
I'm going to release all those documents.
The day.
Yeah,
And that's why he couldn't run. Right there. Now you know the answer why he couldn't run. They had to keep this guy in mothballs. Do not let him ever see the Oval Office. It is too scary what he will... And understand, all the people who probably were involved back then, and that's what my question was earlier. Earlier, about 15 minutes ago, I said to you, if all of this stuff, if you believed Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, if they were done doing it, then all those people were probably dead right now. They're done. They're gone. So why would there still be a need to keep this quiet if they stopped doing it? Let that sink in. I'm going to release this as soon as I get into the Oval Office. Okay, well then we got to make sure you're never in the Oval Office. Why? Why would you worry about me? You weren't working in the CIA back in 1968 and 1963. You weren't here. How's it affect you? Oh, it's still happening? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question why they wouldn't want to, let people know what's going on in our government.
It's going to be a big day. I'm going to sign an executive order forbidding all federal agents, any federal employee from lying to the public. And the executive order is going to say any federal officer, official who lies to the public in conjunction with his official duties is going to immediately lose his job. I'm going to pass another executive order day one, forbidding the CIA from propagandizing American people.
All right, so I'm going to release all the hounds. You're going to see everything. Got to get you all the information. And I'm going to make sure that you can never propagandize people ever again. Wait. So you're telling me you're going to tell everybody what we did, right? And then you're telling me it's going to be against the law for the media to cover for us. Yes. Oh, hell no. You can never be president. We got to make sure you're never, ever seen in the Oval Office. We're going to label you a kook. We're going to do everything we can to make sure everybody in the media never brings you on television, never talks to you, makes you make your own family. Your own family is going to come out and just completely trash you because we can never let you get on television and talk to people. We can't give you any platform. You don't have any Twitter followers. Facebook's going to boot you off. You're nobody. You're just Bobby. And that all changed in 48 hours ago. That all changed in one fell swoop. You see, when you're watching the news today, and they say, oh, Bobby Kennedy only has 4, 5, 6%. Yesterday in the rating show polls, I showed you, how that number came about. Now they're scrambling to say that basically, Bobby Kennedy's insignificant, doesn't mean anything. Do you know why Bobby Kennedy was insignificant and didn't mean anything? Because until 48 hours ago, he had no voice. Not physically, he had no voice. Nobody knew who he was. Barry, how do you know that? Well, I'm going to show you how I know that, because where is that? Then we'll take some questions. I want to show you this. This is an article that was published on CNN. And let me just get to this here. Cut it here. All right. This was on CNN, and the article is titled, What Polling Shows About Americans' Views... no, this is Associated Press, I'm sorry. What polling shows about what Americans' views of Robert F. Kennedy are. And this was from August 23rd. No, he's so low in the polls, doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. Long article telling us why he doesn't mean anything. And I picked up one line here that I want you to see. In the most recent poll, only 20% of Americans, 2 out of 10, thought they... wait a minute. In the most recent poll, 2 out of 10 adults didn't know enough about Kennedy to even give an opinion. Read that again. Only 20% of people knew anything about this guy. He's Bobby Kennedy. His dad was Robert Kennedy. His uncle was John F. Kennedy. His cousin was John. And nobody knows who he is. Why is that? How do people not know who Robert Kennedy Jr. is? They have kept him on the fringe. He's crazy. He's a kook. He's one of those anti-jab people. He's nuts. Don't put him on TV. And so nobody knew who he was. So that 20% of the American adults who knew what he was allowed him to get 5 and 6%. So here's what happened. 48 hours ago, everybody's talking about RFK Jr. Today's Sunday, and he hit a number of the national talk shows. Hadn't even been on them before. Now he's getting national attention. He's tied in with Trump. He has Trump's platform. He's tweeting. He's getting his word out there. I remember I took a snapshot of his Twitter followers. I'm going to follow up on that in a couple days on Monday. Elon Musk is pushing him. That 2%, that 20% of people who knew about it is going to skyrocket. And as that skyrockets, he's going to get more notoriety. And people are going to start leaning in the ear and going, wait a second, this guy's got some decent ideas. He wants to keep our kids healthy. He's telling us what they've done to our food. He's telling us what this government has done to his family. We never heard this. Oh my God, what are we doing? Now we're hearing all this information in August of 2024, and for 60 years, nobody's heard squat? Yeah, that's why only 20% of the country knew who the hell this guy was. Unless you were older and understood he was RFK's son, you probably haven't heard much. Now, boom, that seal's gone. His numbers are going to rise, continue to rise, because now he has a platform. Trump just said, hey, here you go. Start talking. Now, I got more to go, but I've been talking for an hour, so let me get some of your comments here. Margaret here says, I noticed he's getting a lot of attention now. Yeah, now the dam has broken. They don't know what to do. How do we shut this guy up? Oh, we can't. He's in bed with Trump and Elon now. Oh, no. And so now he's going to get out there and eventually CNN and the other ones are going to probably want to interview him, but he didn't need them. He was on Fox, I think, 2 or 3 times today. Trump is pushing him. It's just going to go nuts. The Democrats are like the mafia, but worse. The mafia, democracy. Many people blame the source for poor quality of U.S. food on their health. Yeah, he's doing it. What is this? I saw RFK bow out. It was sad but beautiful. I'm quitting because it's a joke. Huh? I don't know what the hell that means. The system is deeper than any of us knows. You're absolutely correct. Bring back the Pledge of Allegiance. Yep. GMOs are in more of our food than ever. It's crazy. Somebody mentioned he knows everything about the 3-letter agencies. Absolutely. Only 20% didn't know. Wait a minute. You said I read that wrong? Oh, let me pull it back up. Okay. So, let me just show you that. It says, in the most recent poll, about 2 in 10 U.S. adults didn't know enough about Kennedy to give an opinion. 2 in 10. So you're saying that 80% of people did know who he was, but they didn't know enough about him. Republicans were significantly more likely than Democrats and independents to have a favorable view of Kennedy. Why is that? Why would the Democrats and independents not have a favorable view of RFK Jr.? Because they've kept him out of the limelight. So now he's going to be in the limelight. I am 57. Hey, Jimmy. I am 57, so I've known who he is for decades, but I sure am learning what he's all about the last few days, and I'm very thankful that he's talking. That's an interesting take. You may have known the name. Obviously, it's Kennedy. But now you're knowing what his platform is, what the man stood for, and that's what they tried to keep very quiet. Trump, RFK just made some enemies of the intelligence services. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Barry. I always believed that the 3-letter agency was involved in the murder. Yeah, we always have. Now, we'd love to. Oh, wow, 10,000 here? Thank you guys very much. Now we need to. Now he can get the message out about the poisoning of our kids. It's amazing to me, and I don't mean to be misogynist, but well, Kamala's not a mom, so I was going to think this would be something she should have wrapped her arms around. As a woman, the woman is basically the nurturer, the husband is the provider, the leader, the hunter-gatherer, and the wife is the nurturer. You would think most females would be looking at this and going, oh, he's going to help my kids. My kids are what's most important to me. I'm going to be up in North Carolina next week on remote, so I hope you guys give me a little bit of leeway on production, but I'm going to go see my grandkids and my daughter. Grandkids first, you understand that. And I want to make sure that they have as good a life as possible. And so now you've got this guy telling you all these things like, hey, you drink Coke? Barry, is there Coke in your cup? That's basically battery cleaner. Ooh. Hey, do you use butter or you use margarine? Don't ever touch margarine again because this, and this. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Nobody's told us. Hey, do you know what happens if you eat the Cheetos that you love? You're basically eating pesticide. No, I didn't know that. Continue, please. Tell me these things. Basically, everything that the FDA told you, do the opposite of. Oh, they told you don't eat meat? Eat meat. They told you should be eating a lot of breads and said, don't do that. Don't eat anything processed. Well, how the hell am I going to eat anything if I can't eat anything processed? When you go to the supermarket and you buy Kraft Singles cheese, it's not cheese. Well, what is it? We don't know. Nobody's telling us. And now this guy's going to be out there saying these things, and I gotta believe whatever problem Trump had with female voters is going to get much better, because now, hey, Trump has brought the guy in who's going to help me look out for my kids. Huge, absolutely huge in terms of what's going to be happening at this point. Yeah, no white bread. It's all fully processed. Absolutely. Kentucky, no jobs. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons they're really worried. Wait till we start finding out what the arrangements were with. Well, don't want to get that because they might flip the switch here. But you know that little Alfie guy that's trying to push everything all the time. Yeah, be careful. Best thing you can do for your health. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to want to know. Yeah, should I not eat this? Nope, don't eat it. Okay, should I eat that? That's okay, and maybe just a little bit. And the labeling and what they should say. You are about to ingest poison. Go at your own risk. I'm not telling you can't. That's where the difference is. We're not going to mandate that you don't drink Coca-Cola, diabetes in a cup. We're not going to tell you can't, but you should know if you drink this stuff, what's going to happen. You know, God knows we got all kinds of labels on cigarettes. I've never smoked a cigarette a day in my life. I'll tell you why one day. It's a funny story what my mother did to me. I'll tell you now. My mom smoked. My dad smoked. My mom gets up. I was about 7 or 8 years old. You know, you always basically mimic and emulate your parents. Well, my mom was smoking. And back then, when the phone rang, you had to get up and go answer the phone. So she put her cigarette in the ashtray. It was still burning. She walks over to answer the phone. She comes back, and I'm doing this. And I look up, and she's like, "What are you doing?" "I don't know. Smoking." "Finish it." I don't like it." "Finish it." Young Bear turned into Young Berry, Older Berry, and never touched a cigarette again in my life. That was it. If I had done the same thing about the other stuff, and then things would have turned out better. But yeah, never mind. I digressed. No Kraft cheese ever. Just saying cancer feeds on sugar. Yeah, stop eating sugar. Do it right now. I rarely eat fast food. All meat, potatoes, and veggies. Yeah, you know, if it comes out the ground, it can't be too bad. Worried that they're gonna throw Trump in jail. Absolutely. Somebody pulled out something, said it's a worldwide awakening. Barry never knew he was that deep into children's health. I'm gonna confess, I knew he was digging into pesticides, and I knew he was digging into jab stuff. I had no idea that a huge part of his platform was what was happening with childhood diseases and chronic diseases. Never knew it. Why? They never let us hear from him. Never. And so now he's talking. Oh, and is he talking? So let me get to another video, and this one's going to crack you up. I'm going to skip one I had here. So this is CNN. No, this is MSNBC. You're going to love this. So they have to trot somebody out. They got to put some people out there, you know, the sacrificial lambs, to try and talk this guy, you know, basically talk him down. Okay, here we go.
You know, Barbara, does RFK Jr.'s endorsement, especially given who his family is, does his endorsement of Trump, I mean, does this play into the autocrat playbook? I mean, I'm trying to understand
autocrat playbook. Listen to the words.
Why Donald Trump so desperately wants RFK Jr.'s support.
You know, I think Trump wants to.
That's the first thing. When people start a statement, I'm going to give you a little clue here. When someone starts a statement to you, they should have a disclaimer underneath. When they start this statement and says, "I think," okay, right there I need to have a disclosure, because that disclosure means I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This is just what I think. It's not news. You guys know when you tune in here, it's my opinion. It's not news. I'm commenting on news. They're doing the same thing. I think I kind of believe this. Do you know? No, I don't know shit. But I think. Always listen to when somebody starts a statement with that, because I've learned from psychologists, usually it's prefacing it so they have a way out, and that they're letting other people know they don't really know what they're talking about. You know, you can get up there and BS and say blah, 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 blah. You don't have to say, I think. She's disclosing that she doesn't know.
Win, and anybody who could give him votes is somebody he's going to embrace. And RFK, I think, in addition to being weird, it's also opportunistic.
I'm sorry, I missed it. The weird thing comes back. So here we go again. He's weird. He's weird. He's weird. He's weird and opportunistic.
He contacted the Harris administration to see if there was a place for him in their administration. He's clearly hoping that he can get something if Trump wins. He's a really interesting character. The Harris administration wants nothing to do with him. And
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Kamala. That's probably the best decision you've made in your candidacy. Thank you very much.
If we talk about voters, it's because most of the left-leaning voters who were likely to vote for Kennedy have already gravitated over to Harris.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Pure lie. On a national television network, where, as I showed you yesterday, most of the polls haven't even updated. There's no possible way she could know what she just said. Realize that. She just stood there, looked in a camera, and lied and said most of the people have already gravitated to Harris. How in the hell could you possibly know that, since it happened on Friday and there's been no kind of data really that has come out since then? You're lying to the American people. MSNBC, you should be ashamed of yourself.
ones that are left are either people who aren't going to vote because they truly are independents, or they're already Trump leaning and that's where they're going to go. He's off the ballot everywhere except, interestingly enough, Michigan and North Carolina.
What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's a liar. He's off the ballot everywhere except Michigan and North Carolina. Their audience must be mental midgets. He's off the ballot everywhere except Michigan and North Carolina. You do know that's complete hogwash, right? You understand that. You understand what the strategy was. The strategy was remove yourself from the red battleground states that Trump is already in, stay on the ballot in the blue states. And she just told everybody, he's only on Michigan, North Carolina. You got a drink? Seriously? You think people are that stupid? Yeah, obviously they do.
Those are swing states. Michigan is a key state. Trump has been campaigning there in the last few days. That's a key state for Trump to win. And actually,
is it not a key state for Harris to win?
Having Kennedy on the ballot in Michigan probably hurts Trump.
Having Kennedy on the ballot probably, I don't really know. I'm just saying this shit because most people won't check. They don't know how to look, and we're not going to tell you how to look. You just have to believe me. It probably hurts Trump. Have you seen the data? Do you know he's got 4 or 5 or 6% of the voting block? 4 or 5, 6% of the voting block, and people don't even know what the hell's going on with him. People are just now hearing from him. And Kamala Harris, based on outdated milk polls, is only holding a 2% lead, 2-point lead rather. So what the hell are you talking about, lady? She just made it up. It's like they called her, can you come on this Sunday? Yeah. All right, just say whatever we need you to say. Okay, fine.
So Kennedy is a really weird guy. If he really
everybody's weird. They're all weird.
really wants to help Trump, I'm not sure this is the best way to do it.
Before Vice President Harris took over the top of the ticket, with Kennedy in the race, Trump was leading President Biden. Now with Vice President Harris at the top of the ticket, she's leading Trump with Kennedy in the race. And
now, I just did a polling show video with you guys. Many of you were here. I urge you to go see that. What he just said, is completely bullcrap. I showed you that there has been, never mind Kennedy, there's been basically no poll data. They've done nothing in the polls over the last month. They've been hiding data. And there's no possible way you would have a poll Sunday morning that shows these numbers. That's completely made up. I can prove it. I showed you yesterday. Go back and look at yesterday's video. There is no possible way that this is true. And they're just throwing it out there on the television. I'm like, where'd you get that data from? Where did you just pull these numbers from? Doesn't make any sense. And then she's saying, okay, I just can't, I don't know what the hell these people do. How do you just come up with this shit and just put it on television?
With him out of the race, it's just two-way race, she gets a bump up. What do you make of this?
Well, I think the more people know about Bobby Kennedy, the more people who are sane will not want to vote for him.
No pollster ever would say that to a person who hasn't been seen in the media. So this woman, who calls herself the Republican on MSNBC, Jennifer Rubin, who's done nothing but for the last 6 years made money trashing Republicans, just said, the more you see of this guy, the less you're going to like. She's probably one of the cat ladies that J.D. Vance talks about. She probably has no children. She probably has no grandchildren. How are you going to tell me, and this is one of the things I wanted to see in here when I was looking through here, is how are you going to tell a woman with kids that she doesn't want to hear what he has to say? Of course she's going to want to hear what my wife, look, oh really? I didn't know that. Wow, maybe I should stop eating that. Oh yeah, tell me more. Oh, yeah, the kids with autism. This is, oh, yeah, okay. This is what's causing it. Oh. People aren't going to want to hear that. No.
I think he is a...
I think. There you go again. It happens so easily, so often when people talk on television, and it's just full disclosure of, I'm just bullshitting. I don't know anything. They put this camera in front of me. They told me to come out. I probably never even talked to Bobby Kennedy. And I think. I don't give a shit I don't care what you think. Tell me what you know.
Perfect match for Donald Trump. And in fact, if I were J.D. Vance, I would stick by the phone because he might be just the kind of guy that Trump would pull in as an October surprise. He is freakish in every sense of the word, whether it's...
Freakish in every sense of the word. There's only one sense of the word that RFK Jr. is freakish. He's freakish in the fact that a 70-year-old man can have a body that looks the way his body looks. I don't play on that team. But I don't know if you've seen, ladies. The man looks like he walked out of a muscle movie. Looks like he just hung out with Arnold back in 75. This man is 70 years old. And damn, he's as cut and big as Joe Rogan. So he must be doing something right. I mean, he's 70 years old. I've seen him with his shirt off out there doing bench presses in jeans and just throwing some iron around, looking just cut and buff. So that's the only freakish part I have is because, damn, you're older than me and you look like that. I got to get me some of that. I need to know what you're eating, what you're doing. Because my wife looked at, he's 70? I'm like, don't say it. Don't you say it. He's 70? Shut up. I'm going to find out. What you doing? What are you doing, Bobby? How's that shit happening? I saw your uncle. Teddy was kind of slovenly. So your genes ain't all that. What did you do? Yes, men are going to want to know that. Men his age, men younger than him. How do I get like that when I look at 70? That's the freakish part. But, I wouldn't expect someone like her to understand
Picking
that.
up bear roadkill or eating a barbecued dog. But much more seriously, he's a nut. He is a conspiracy nut. He's a racist.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Now they've added him to that category. See, every time you're not in the Democrat camp, you are a racist. That's just how it is. Yeah, I'm sorry, Bob. You decided you were going to align yourself with Trump, and now here it comes. You're a racist.
Has come up with all of these cockamamie theories of persecution. In that sense, he's very much a Trump rather than a Kennedy. And I have to say, it's a very sad denouement to the Kennedy legacy. And I think his family is justifiably very embarrassed and really ashamed of him.
You mean the guys that actually work for Joe Biden? Those Kennedys? Yeah, because obviously you didn't poll the entire Kennedy family. You just took the ones that decided they were going to say something on Twitter. So it's a very sad day. Notice what she didn't say. She didn't say anything, not a single word, about his platform. She didn't say anything that he stands for this, he stands for that, he wants to make sure this happens, he's going to talk to Trump, none of it. Complete denigration, racist, kook, conspiracy theorist, all the usual stuff. You don't have anything substantive to say to defend your situation? No, I'm not here for that. I'm just here to basically just cut this guy to shreds.
What impact is this going to have on the 2024 race?
Very, very little, except it does give the Harris campaign a lot of opportunity for a lot more attack ads.
They think you're stupid. All it means is that it gives her ammunition to run attack ads to people who are stupid. Spend money out there because all of us just happen to watch political advertising all the time. So that's what it's worth there. That's the only thing that's going to happen here is that she's going to be able to create, attack ads. Question for you. Is she going to attack him? Because he's not running for president. He's just, someone who backed it, gave him some support. Yeah, he's going to be as part of the administration, but you're going to start now diverting your attention to someone who's not even running against you. Every coach ever would tell you, don't do that. Why would you take your attention off the person who's your opponent?
Having sat in a House congressional hearing with Kennedy Jr. on vaccines and on the conspiracy theories that he spread around those, I can tell.
What were they?
Tell you that I think you can expect.
I think. I wanted to point that out to you over and over and over. I think. Boom. Every single one of these people said, I think.
The word weird to continue to circulate from the mouths of the campaign and its supporters when it comes to being able to take on any kind of sense that this is something that might change the dynamics of this race. And we know from polling that about, frankly, Kennedy supporters were not very strong supporters. They were not deeply committed to him.
What polling? We've seen it all. His supporters are pretty much legion. His supporters want to be behind him. They're just trying to deflect and basically triage the damage at this point. They can't even try to take him down. They're just trying to denigrate him. He's a racist. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's weird. All these things that they've been saying. It's not going to work, lady. Now he's got a voice. Now he's got a platform. You going on television and telling us what you think of him doesn't matter anymore. If something that he has said doesn't make sense. Why don't you pull that out? Do you disagree about seed oils? Prove it otherwise. How can you possibly say something is a conspiracy theory when you can't prove that it is? He says seed oils do this, this, and this. Have at it. Tell me why he's wrong. Would love to hear it. Not a single one of these people can do that. Not one.
And that both Harris and Trump really kind of divided up his constituents. So I don't think this will have much impact at all, except in attack ads.
So all this was a way for them to get out there and appease the nuts. Let the lib nuts know everything is going to be okay. Nothing to see here, folks. Just forget what's happened in the last 48 hours. Doesn't mean anything. We got this. So what's Kamala say about it? Who? Oh, Kamala. You mean the person who's running for president? Oh, she'll let you know in a month. Okay. That's when you'll find out. Wait for the debate. Oh yeah. Blah 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 blah. full of crap. Absolutely. The one lady's here. RFK told Tucker in an interview his wife, children, and grandchildren are all that matters in his life. That's pretty much all that matters in all of our lives. I would say, wouldn't it? Those four pictures make a crap salad. But it didn't stop on MSNBC. MSNBC is an arm of the New World Order, global cult for Marxism and communism. Yes, absolutely. But it didn't start there. Then the other one decides they're going to chime in, and they're going to tell you, how bad of a nut job he is. So Anna Ozempic Navarro decides she's going to talk about, Bobby Kennedy in this short clip.
I think this is one of the tackiest things I've seen in politics, and that's a very low bar.
I think this is one of the tackiest things I've seen in television. Okay, you said it again.
Because what we see is a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. who was basically bargaining to see who the highest bidder would be to get his endorsement, right? So what he's saying is that Donald Trump gave him a quid pro quo, is going to put him in his administration. Kamala Harris, rightly so, didn't give him the time of day. I think a campaign that's already wrestling with a label of weird, bringing...
No, it's not wrestling with the label of weird. You guys want to make it wrestle with the label of weird. Maybe the Ozempic is hitting your brain a little much here, because you're not making any sense.
In a guy who's had to deny that he ate a dog, who's told us he had a worm in his brain, and who stabbed a dead cub bear and then posted in Central Park. Man, talk about adding weird to weird.
Scott Jennings is with us. RFK Jr., as you know, Scott, is a known conspiracy theorist and anti-vaxxer.
He's a known conspiracy theorist and anti-vaxxer, says Wolf Blitzer of CNN. Now you have the news. All they did this morning on the limited time that they talked about him was just trash him. Didn't talk about any of his policies, didn't talk about any of the stances he takes, didn't talk about anything at all regarding what this man has been saying. They didn't even bring it up. It would be so easy. Hey, listen, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has said that this cheese isn't cheese. This cheese is full of chemicals. It's not cheese. Don't know why they call it cheese. What's your thoughts on this, Wolf? Do you have anything to combat the study that he has that says that this cheese isn't cheese? No, he's just crazy. Oh. He says that Coca-Cola is basically diabetes in a bottle because of the sugar content, because sugar is bad for you. Hey, Wolf, what do you think about sugar content in food? Oh, nothing? He says that seed oils are bad. Question, what do you know about seed oils? They can't do it. Now this man, he did like I didn't show it to you, he did like a half hour today on Fox and Friends this morning. And he went through item by after item after item, telling everybody. That's how I know he went through it. So see this item, see this here? Okay, if you eat this thing here, you look at the label here, look what it says. Okay, here, blah, 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 blah. You understand who makes this? Do you know that the same, I want to make sure I say this correctly, the same company and recipe that they used to eliminate people in Auschwitz is the same thing that they use for the pill that disposes of babies. These people don't want this information getting out. Forget all the information on Kennedy, Martin Luther King, both Kennedys rather, and Malcolm X. Forget about all that. They don't want that. They don't want this food stuff coming out because you might live longer. Oh my God, if you stop eating this crap, you may live longer. We can't possibly have this entire world populated with so many people that are living healthy. Listen. I'm not saying you have to believe. I'm saying listen to what he says. As an intelligent, thinking, rational person, think about it. Listen, do your own research, and then decide if you want to keep drinking soda. It's the difference between a government that works for the people and a government that's basically telling you what you can't do and that you need to shut up. Hey, here's what Coke can do to you. Here's the problems with drinking Coke. Here's the sugar content in Coke. If you keep drinking Coke, here's what could possibly happen. Okay, now you make an informed decision. You ready to go with it? Yeah, I'm still going to drink Coke. You do you. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying that to people? What's wrong with saying, hey, listen, I'm just going to give you a warning? I think I was brought up that way. Hey, don't put your hand on the stove. It's hot. If you put your hand on the stove, it's going to burn. And then I'm going to whack you in the head because I told you not to put your hand on the stove. And what did all of us do? Ow, pop. Learn my lesson. I'm going to have to take it that it's other stuff that you're saying might have some merit to it because I put my hand on the stove, it hurt, and then I got whacked upside the head. So what else you got for me? Don't smoke cigarettes. Okay. What about that other stuff? I don't know about that. I didn't do that. Oh, okay. I'll have to find that on my own, right? Next story. All right, so let me go to a couple tweets because now, and this really freaked them out. This is like, I said Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is like both of them combined. You ready for this one? Because if you're not on Twitter, you probably didn't see this. Boom. What MAGA really means. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. put this out this morning at 10:01 a.m. It has 2.9 million views. He never got this kind of viewership before. Now he's got a platform, and he's going to tell you what MAGA really means. Obviously, he and Trump have talked about this. Listen to this definition. The phrase has troubled liberals who think it is a call for a return to an America before civil rights, gay rights, and women's rights. But I have a more generous interpretation, one that is truer to my experience of Donald Trump as he is today. Make America Great Again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with hope and a belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time could celebrate its successes. It was a nation of broad prosperity, the world's most vibrant middle class, and an idealistic belief, though not consistently applied, in freedom, justice, and democracy. It was a nation that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology. And it was the healthiest country in the world. I have talked to many Trump supporters. I have talked with his inner circle. I have talked to the man himself. This is the America they want to restore. What's wrong with that? How can any Democrat be against that? Don't you want to be a country that leads in innovation? A country that leads in technology? A country that wants to confront its darker shadows? All of what he said there, celebrate his successes. a vibrant middle class, an idealistic belief, though not consistently applied, but we can apply it consistently, in freedom, justice, and democracy, was the healthiest country in the world. What the hell is wrong with that? When you say, like her slogan is, we're never going back, what do you mean? Why couldn't we be that country? Why do you not want us to be that country? He put that out, and 3 million people have seen it, and it's being pushed around, and people are like, oh my gosh, he's blowing it up. And somebody responded, and I love this, Democrats aren't prepared for RFK to actually campaign for Trump. The endorsement is one thing, and I've told you guys, I've said it here, the endorsement is one thing, but if RFK is actually going to put to use his team and keep campaigning for Trump, it's going to help Trump a lot. He will be a powerful extension. It will move the needle in the swing states. That's exactly what he's going to do. I said it here first. Pat myself on the back. I can reach. I said, it's just, I don't want an endorsement. I want to see somebody get out there and make stuff happen. I want to see somebody get out there and say, you know what? I'm behind this guy, and I'm going to get out the road and talk to him. And so more and more people started saying, I could literally have done hundreds of these tweets. I mean, literally. This guy, Bryce Lipscomb, who is Bryce? Bryce is a Calvin Coolidge libertarian. I was aware that previously I had said inflammatory things about MAGA and real Donald Trump, much of which I apologize for. But what the liberals don't seem to understand is that MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, and MAGA don't care what we used to think or say about each other. That's the answer. Don't care. I opened this video by telling you, I don't care. Doesn't matter. We got to defeat the Democrats. We got to defeat communism. We have forgiven and forgotten now. We have joined forces to take our country back from the communist dictators and corporate oligarchs currently running this country. I don't care what was said in the past about RFK. They do not care what was said about Trump in the past. We recognize DNC tactics to divide us when we see it. MAGA and MAHA are family now, and you can't stop what's coming November 5th. Amen, brother. That's it. That's it. Coalition. All of us coming together. We got to take down these communist nuts and do away with them. Perfect. Perfect tweet. I wanted you to guys see this. And there's a couple more that I want you to see of the thousands that are out there. 8 years ago, this guy's a venture capitalist out in California. He got Sequoia. 8 years ago, I thought MAGA represented division and hate because the media told us that. Now I understand that it represents a revitalization of the inclusive founding principles which have always made America great. MAGA is a fight against the corrosive forces that are always present in our society. Welcome home, brother. Welcome home. That's the mere fact, when these people on MSNBC and CNN are trying to deflect, what they don't realize is people are merely opening their eyes. Like, wait a second. You guys don't have 3 heads and a tail? No, we're just regular people, man. We just want to have a strong America. And you're all not racist and fork-tongued? No. And you actually walk upright, too? Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that. I was told you guys were aliens. Yeah. Well, let's have a beer. We want the same thing. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of the fact that people are now going to look at other MAGA people and say, oh, you're telling me that this red hat, which doesn't fit my big head, you're telling me that this red hat doesn't make you an alien? Nope. You're telling me that if you wear this red hat, you're just not some stupid racist, some knuckle dragon, misogynist, anti-woman. Nope. Just a guy who loves America. That's who I am. I didn't know that. I know you didn't know that. And they don't want you to know that. That's the whole idea. The more they can think that I'm a monster in the closet, the better they can control you. But when you find out that Barry's big head wears multiple hats, and he's not going to eat your kids, and he's not a racist, That's the Democrats' worst nightmare. Because now people are coming together and going, this isn't what I thought. I've been lied to. Yeah, you have. Welcome to MAGA. Welcome to the party. You have been lied to. That is your comeuppance. And now it's time to deliver some comeuppance to these idiots. So if you guys don't know, there's something called the intellectual, let me put this up here, intellectual dark web. And you're like saying, Barry, what's the intellectual dark web? Well, the intellectual dark web is basically a term used to describe a loose affiliation of academics, professors, people in the know, the smart people out there who usually hate Republicans, and social commentators who oppose the perceived influence of left-wing associated identity politics and political correctness in higher education. So these are people who are brainiacs who said, I'm not into this identity crap. Something's wrong here. Individuals and publications associated with the term reject what they view as authoritarian and ostracism with mainstream progressive movements in Western countries. This includes opposition to deplatforming, boycotts, and online shaming, which is seen as threats to freedom of speech. Those who have been labeled as being part of the dark web include both liberals and conservatives. The validity of the term is contested by some as has been applied to because of the range of beliefs it encompasses. And so now you got some intellectuals. They're saying, as an intellectual, I'm going to have to contemplate this. What exactly is going on? I understand I may have been a liberal, and this guy, Trump, is abhorrent. He's disgusting. And I only know this because of what they've told me in the media. But now a guy I respect is saying, hey, listen, I'm getting together with this guy. And because I'm getting it together with this guy, maybe you guys should too. So one of the guys who founded what's called the intellectual dark web is a guy named Brett Weinstein with his brother. I think his brother's name was Eric Weinstein. He went on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, and he said some very interesting things.
How big you think, one, this is? Him stepping aside, him not being in the battlegrounds, him supporting Trump, and him trashing the Democratic Party that he left?
Well, I think this is absolutely monumental because I think we are in a novel moment in American political history where many of us who hold different positions on the political spectrum, have different priorities with respect to policy, are finding that none of our differences matter in light of the jeopardy that the republic is in. And so what he is effectively doing here is he is saying those differences aren't going away, but they're just simply secondary. And he
Bingo. Understand what he just said. You may not like Trump. You may not like everything he stands for. Some of you may not like RFK and what he stands for. But the collective amount that you do care for is America. And right now, the preservation of our way of life is more important than our differences. Our policy differences versus losing our way of life. Big, big difference.
Is both structurally by withdrawing from certain ballots and not others. He is emboldening a movement that is more widely recognizing that those differences have to be put aside until the main job is done.
And that's what I've been telling you. Hey, you know what? I got to work with you because the main job is saving America. Elon Musk. I've seen people in chat. Well, I don't really trust Elon Musk. Okay. Is he looking to make this a communist country, or you just don't like the way he does things? I just don't like the way he does things. But he wants to save America. Yeah. Then that's somebody you need to get behind. You can fight the other fights later. Go after the orcs. Get together with the elves and the dwarves and everybody else and say, let's take down these commies.
And he's leaving himself an important voice in that discussion. So I was very interested in the way he navigated the idea. This was not a simple endorsement of Trump. This was an endorsement of retaking the White House and using that position to restore the republic to its proper course.
A couple weeks ago, the Trump-Rogan feud, right? Hey, Rogan said good things about RFK.
Yep.
And then Trump comes back and
Remember this. I'm going to bring this up again in a second.
says, I wonder what the booze you're going to get when you get to UFC. Then Rogan posts a picture with him and who was a comedian that was Trump. And
Shane Gillis,
and says, hey, we made up, we're good. And that picture goes viral. And now 2 weeks later, RFK says this. Does he having a position or endorsing Trump, does this cause a guy like you to be open to the idea of voting for Trump versus Kamala?
A guy like you. He's talking to Brett Weinstein. I think it's Weinstein. From the intellectual dark web. A thinker, a contemplator. Is it going to make you, think about voting for Trump now?
Oh, absolutely. Let me just be perfectly clear about this. I think the modern Democratic Party is an existential threat to the Republic. And although I am a Democrat, I've been a Democrat my whole life, the party that I see in front of me today is literally the inverse of the party I signed up for.
Bingo. That's what they're afraid of. Now, more and more people, you're going to see it. This was only 48 hours ago. This little bird just got hatched. And you already have people who are lifelong Democrats. Lifelong. Who are going, hey, wait a second. I don't recognize these commies. But I recognize RFK Jr. And RFK Jr. is the kind of liberal that I am. And he's now aligning with Trump. Okay, that makes me sit up and take notice. And I got to think about this. I really got to think about this because, yeah, you're right. This isn't the Democrat Party that I know.
This is now the party of war. This is the party of racism. This is the party of censorship.
This is a Jewish man talking, and he's calling the Democrats racist.
I don't recognize this party. There is no conceivable scenario in which I would vote for Kamala Harris.
Ouch.
I just simply will not do it. Am I open to voting for Trump? I am. I'm especially open to it if he is partnered with Bobby Kennedy, because
you heard it. That there's like 33 seconds. I'll come back to it. I am especially open to it if he's partnered with Bobby Kennedy. The intellectual dark web founder just said what you heard is what came out of his mouth. I am especially interested in voting for Trump if he's partnered with Bobby Kennedy. MSNBC, CNN, they got nothing. They have no idea how to combat this. Run all the attack ads you want. You know what that's going to do? It's going to further basically increase the base for the Trump, Kennedy, Elon, and whoever else coalition. You're doing what they said you would do. You're going to use the media to try and trash this man because you can't discuss anything of substance. The gig is up. Everybody knows what you're all about right now. You're all about censorship. You're all about socialism, Marxism, communism. You are not anything like real Americans want to associate with. And that doesn't even count yet the women who want to have healthy kids. And it doesn't even count the people who are just repulsed by the big blue baby removal van that you parked out in front of the DNC. You've gone way over the line. And people like Brett Weinstein are letting this guy's got like millions of followers. Everybody is talking right now.
What that tells me is that my values, which are a much closer match for Bobby's, are represented in that administration. And that's really what I want. I want a coalition to redefine American politics because, frankly, we have a long-standing problem with corruption, which has now turned into something else with the modern Democratic Party. But we need to rethink the way we govern ourselves so that corruption is not the dominant force. And a coalition is the way we're going to do that.
I keep saying the word. You're going to keep hearing it over the next number of months. Coalition. We're basically brothers in arms at this point. That's who we are. Imagine you got drafted and the guy you're in the foxhole with is from Chicago and he's a liberal. and the other guy over here is from San Francisco, and the other guy over here is from Georgia, but you're all fighting the enemy. Doesn't really matter at this point. In order for me to get home and do what I want to do in my life, I got to make sure you guys, as many of you guys live as possible. We got to fight those guys. We got to make sure those people are eliminated. I may not like you. You may snore. You may stink. You may smoke. You whatever you are. But we're on the same side. They're not. So put away everything that you've been thinking, your preconceived notion about, well, Vivek said this and RFK said, doesn't matter. You have been drafted into this MAGA army, whether you like it or not, and you are in a fight, and it's time for you to stand up like you're in a fight. Don't sit back and complain about different things. Lindsey Graham, I saw him on TV this morning, they're like, shut up. We don't want you on the front line. You're a pansy ass. You're not ready to stand up because you still love this war machine. You may not be MAGA. You may be part of the enemy. We don't know. But you either step in line or step off. At this point, we ain't got time for you. So let me go to this. So this is funny. Somebody mentioned this earlier. So now all of this is happening, right? And then a bomb got dropped. A huge bomb got dropped by RFK Jr. This thing here just caused people to lose their mind today. This is only the beginning. Wait till you see the next additions to President Trump's unity government. Unite America, make America healthy again. And people are like, oh shit, what do you mean? What do you mean? There's more? There's more people who are going to defect from the Democrat Party and come over to MAGA? He didn't say Republican Party. He's President Trump's government. Did you see that? He didn't say Republican Party. We're going to get some more of my boys. We're going to get some more of the elves and the dwarves, and we're going to enlarge this army to fight the orcs. They're still coming. I was just the first one to go public. I think I know who's coming next. I'm pretty sure it's Joe Rogan. I'm pretty sure the next guy who's bringing his flock is Joe Rogan. You see, MSNBC and CNN and some of these nutjob networks, they don't understand coalition. They don't understand how people can come together for a cause like this. And they can't understand how that cause is take down the Democrat Party. And they can't understand that collectively we have a much bigger voice than you media people. We don't need you. You're done. Forget about it. You're small potatoes. The only people listening to you are the people who continue to listen to you. And you got nothing to say to everybody else. And that's why Joe Rogan, with his, 4 million followers, many who are liberals, I think that whole thing when he got into that little tussle with Trump over RFK was planned. I think this has been in the works for some time. Yes, I said the words I think because I do not know. I don't have any evidence to the contrary. It is merely a thought. I'm giving you my disclaimer. Different than what people on MSNBC do. I'm saying I think this was probably some orchestrated marketing because I know the guy's a marketing genius. So RFK Jr. comes out with that and you would think the world blew up. This is only the beginning. Wait until you see the next editions. Wait till you see what our guest list looks like and who else is coming. So who else is coming? Can you tell us who else is coming? Because, man, we'd love to know who else is coming. So listen to this.
I'm going to be campaigning actively. I think President Trump is going to make a series of announcements about other Democrats who are joining his campaign.
Aha! Did you hear that? I'm not just endorsing him. I am actively going to be out there on the road campaigning for him. And guess what else? Trump's going to be making a series of announcements. Not one, He said a series of announcements showing other Democrats coming into this coalition. Oh my God. Can you imagine what's about to happen here? A guy who never got on television, who everyone avoided because they thought he was a nut, is now making the rounds on television, and you can't shut him up. You got all kinds of people ready to hear what this guy has to say. And he just said, President Trump, notice he didn't say former President Trump. President Trump is going to make a series of announcements with more Democrats coming into the fold. At which point I was like, who? People on Twitter were asking me. I'm like, I have no idea. I would imagine one of them, the most obvious one would be, Joe Rogan. But I'm thinking, who else? Who else could be coming? He didn't say yet. He's going to let Trump go ahead and drop those bombs.
And I want to make America healthy again, and so does President Trump. So those are objectives. The Wall Street Journal may be worried about shareholder value for pharmaceutical companies, and I think I talk specifically to President Trump about that issue, and he said that he wanted to leave as his legacy healthy children, and that that he was unconcerned about the other implications.
Oh, big pharma. Oh, big pharma. Shoo, they're going to put some Depends on in their conference rooms. I want healthy kids. That's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. So how did the Biden-Harris team react to this information that Trump's building a bigger coalition of Democrats? Well, they reacted in a way that potentially the three-letter agencies would have reacted in 1963. Breaking. RFK Jr. will no longer be provided Secret Service protection. Biden and Harris are not even trying to hide weaponizing their government anymore. RFK Jr. partners up with Trump, and they decide protection for RFK, his family, and supporters no longer matter. If any violence occurs over the next few months at RFK's rallies, the blood will be on Biden-Harris's hands. America deserves better. They're terrified. They are absolutely terrified. I'm sorry I kept you on a Sunday afternoon for 2 hours here. I didn't mean this to go this long, but I had so much I had compiled, and I wanted you guys to hear all this. I know many of you aren't on Twitter. And so they reacted as though this was basically October of 1963. We're going to leave this guy unprotected, because we don't want him talking, and if he's not protected, maybe he'll shut up. So let's just go ahead and pull the Secret Service away from him. No doubt Trump is going to protect him. No doubt Trump's going to, he'll be protected. But the naked exposure of what the Biden-Harris team just did cannot be ignored. When you make moves like this, you're you're indicating that you're basically terrified. You're afraid. You want this man to fear for his life. You want his family to fear for his life. You want his wife calling him, "Go, honey, we can't do this." You want to use these tactics to basically instill fear and say, "We're coming for you." God help us, man. God help us, this country and what this Biden-Harris puppeteer regime is doing. And it's going to keep growing. I don't know much about her. I know she's been a thorn in people's sides for some time. But now Jill Stein is set to drop out and endorse President Trump. We may disagree with RFK Jr. about many things, but he's right about how the Democrat Party uses lawfare and dirty tricks like pulling Secret Service people away to suppress Democratic competition and voter choice. The Dems preach about saving democracy, but in reality, they're working overtime to stamp it out. This is going to keep growing. It becomes dangerous because now this cornered animal known as the Democrat Party, with this shadow fake candidate that they have, can't run. They can't get away. This thing is growing up so big, they're going to be surrounded. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if people left her camp and jumped in. They'd have to be vetted. But something is going to happen. Something is going to break. This is becoming way too big at this point. Way too big. How big is it? Well, I'll let you guys enjoy this. I don't know who made that, but I was dying when I saw it. And I did that other video where Hitler is screaming, that meme they put together, but YouTube won't let me show it. But here we go. Here we go. Game on. I don't know what this week has. I know as of before I went on today, Trump had 2 rallies scheduled, which is going to be tough because I'm going to be on the road. And I'm still going to have to jump in here and figure out a way to do these things. Let me see what he's got. Yeah, so far he's got two of these rallies, one on Thursday and one on Friday. So maybe I'll be able to do that. So, what do you guys got to say? They're going to try and take out Trump and RFK, or that scumbag judge in New York is going to jail him. Yeah, that's possibly. Was that Tulsi Gabbard? Yes. Oh, I didn't even think. Yes, it was Tulsi Gabbard. The Magnificent Seven. That was the Magnificent Seven, but it's not going to stop there. By the time that's done, I don't know if they're going to be able to put all the people in that dance routine. Yeah, God help us all. Yeah, here it is. You brought good news. You know what? It's Sunday. And and it was such good news. I wanted to make sure everybody saw this and pray for RFK Jr.'s family and protection, because these people are evil. There's no reason for them to jump in right after he goes on TV and go, yeah, no, tell the guys to go home. Let him rot. Absolutely crazy. Jill and Joe, worldwide big. Make it big. RFK is a Democrat with some far left views. He should never take over for Trump. Worry about that in 2028, man, okay? Just go ahead and worry about that in 2028. Barry, read my post out loud. Imagine the barbaric stuff that was going on her bus. Oof. I don't even like to think about it. Breaks my heart, that blue bus. RFK says more people are going to join Trump. Will make a huge announcement. A series of announcements. So it's not just one person. A series of announcements. I mean, just grasp that. Think about that for a second. There are so many people pissed off, ticked off, that they're willing to jump over the line with the orange man. Remember my soliloquy at the beginning. Once it becomes fashionable, once people can feel like, you know what, I can put on this red hat, and you're not going to do anything to me. Once people feel that they're going to be okay and that they don't have to worry about it, what do you think's going to happen? At that point, moving windows right here, at that point, things get really freaky for the Democrats, because at that point, you can't stop what's coming. We've been saying it for years. You can't stop what's coming. Yeah, they're in a position right now where they can't stop what's coming. And if Beyonce really did look to herself and go, you know what, I can't get with this. I'm not coming. What do you mean you're not coming? Hey, we're done. If Taylor Swift said, no, I'm just gonna go over here with my boy Travis. Football season's starting. We're just gonna go over here. If it becomes okay to be a Trump supporter, game over. Well, I think it's game over already, but I think it's really game over. Start watching. If you start seeing people walking around with red hats and red shirts and Trump and RFK, even RFK at this point, you start seeing people publicly talk about this, then you know we're growing. At this point, we are the good guys. We're not the bad guys. They wanted Trump to be the bad guy. You guys have all seen the movie Scarface. There's a scene in the movie where Tony Montana goes to dinner, gets nasty drunk. Say hello to the bad guy. It'll be a long time since you see a bad guy like me again. And that's where I think we are. It's going to be a long time before we see a bad guy like Donald Trump. We needed somebody like him to step in and go, you know what? You want to arrest me? You want to take a mugshot? You want to sue me? You want to try to put me in jail? You want to take my money? Go for it. But you missed. And now it's my turn. So when you hear them screaming about retribution and he wants to, we're all coming for it. Every single one of us. And that makes other people nervous, where they're going to go, you know what, I tried this thing about the Orange Man bad. It didn't work. And yeah, now I'm with these guys. I'm with these guys. In that same movie, Scarface. I love movies. Tony Montana goes to a meeting, and he's meeting the bad cop that was been, shaking him down. And he ends up taking that bad cop out, right? And then the guy that's the bad cop's bodyguard goes, oh, he starts sweating. He's going to waste me. He goes, you need a job? Yes, Tony. Yes, Tony. You got a job, man. And he got to go work with the guys that he was enemies with. I think we're going to see a lot of people coalesce. Now, you all know at the end of the movie, Tony Montana gets taken out. I don't think that's going to work in this scenario. I think you took your shot at him. Whatever happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, at this point, now he's on guard. He's got people around him. Hope Dan Bongino has called him and given him all kinds of information. It's time. And if he's going to keep adding people, at this point, it's no longer just him. That's why I like the idea of the coalition, because he's the figurehead. He's leading the charge, but there's an army behind him. And I'm pretty sure, God forbid something happens to him, the army that he is assembling is not going to take it. The American people are seeing what's happening. No one can stop what's coming. We've been saying it for years. No one can stop what's coming. Believe it now. So I'm going to get out of here, but before I do, I got to do my duty, and basically I'm going to be doing this all the time until my daughter takes over. You'll love her. You'll love her. You'll love Ashley. But I got to thank everyone who participated, everyone who didn't give a super chat. Thank you for watching on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Mike the Plumber. Mike the Plumber says, thank you all you do. Prayers for you and your family. Continue doing God's work. You have a great platform He blessed you with. Yes, and I do feel that completely. I've been blessed. Miss King, thank you. I'm honored that my daughter and I were at the rally for such an amazing moment. No one could contain their excitement when he walked out. Oh, you were in Arizona. That must have been fantastic. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Tommy Guns. Love the channel. Inspired me to get active. Everybody, get active. Put the hats on. See what happens. Talk to someone you didn't think was part of the MAGA family, and welcome the RFK Jr. people. Deanne Hobbs, oh, thank you. Thank you, Barry. Your channel is the best. The JFK News is not on MSN. My mom had no idea because she doesn't get online. There's a lot of people who don't see what's happening right now. So thank you for watching. I'll keep you updated. Mark of Reality, thank you. Don't forget the assassination of John Lennon. Same group of mafiosos making it happen. Big Cat, Barry, I have one of RFK's books on V4X injuries. Can I donate to you to pass on to a viewer? Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Manchurian Candidate, Itcast says, if you guys haven't seen these movies, Manchurian Candidate, Telethon. I should like start linking to some of these movies so you can pick them up on Amazon. It can't be expensive because they're kind of old, but and of course the Bourne Identity series. Mauser Cat, thank you. Serious, I can tell some crazy stories I've lived through in the government. I bet you can. Jules watching. Toinette Fortian. Yes, this reminds me of the movie Logan's Run. Yeah. Excuse me. Bob, thank you, mate. Greetings from Australia. Shrimp on the Barbie. Same is happening here. We have a Trudeau-style leader bent on identity politics. The country is imploding. Oh, but change is in the air. Thank you. Trump gets in. You're going to see some of these other countries begin to fold. You know, this identity stuff, it was their global WF-led charge that they were going to do, and they're not going to be able to do it anymore. Black Yellow Flash, thank you. I see why they want to discredit RFK, because if people think he's crazy, they won't listen. He definitely knows where the bodies are buried. Yes, he does. A number of them. Edwin Mendez, thank you from yesterday as well. Trump did answer, see the segment by Steve Bannon, who looked up right now, right when Trump was about, they hit him with the Russian dossier that froze access to that information due to the Wuhan cold. All right, so he's talking about the JFK information. RFK Jr., thank you, Willis, was the light on the scandal. Yes, he was. But Barry, please stop apologizing for minor production issues. Your tactical perspectives are extraordinary. Thank you, Steve. You know, I like to have the production stuff put together, and I know when I'm up in North Carolina, I'm going to be in a Verbo, and I'm not going to have everything I need, so just bear with me, please. C. Smith, thank you. RFG is against the NRA. He called them terrorists. Which RFK policies do you like? One. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I like one RFK policy. That RFK policy that I like is taking down the communist Democrats. The other stuff against the NRA, I could probably like the other stuff, being healthy, having the kids eat and helping child chronic diseases. So that's two right there. But the number one, take down these commies. That's the policy I like. Toinette, hey, very love your content. Pull them up so they can see. Okay. Cindy, hi Cindy, love you, very so proud of you and all your peeps. Thank you very much. Sidecar dog, keep your foot on the accelerator. Geraldine Hall, RFK is right about our food being poisoned. I've been eating low carb, eating single whole ingredient foods for 3 years. I'm 60, off 7 meds, lost 60 pounds, decreased arthritis. Hold on a second there. Gotta give you some love with that one. Off 7 meds, lost 60 pounds, decreased arthritis. Love that. Great. Hey, Bob Lee, thank you. Sidecar Dog, the Goats Party. Sidecar Dog, again, thank you. The Allies versus the Axis of Evil. Yes, exactly. Go-Getters Transport. Where was that? Thank you. Shannon Jones, the administration is like Phoenix Rising. They took all their shots at him, and now they get their comeuppance. Frank, should they jail Trump, RFK can continue to take over for Trump. Dems will continue to panic. Whoa. J.D. Vance is the vice president. Let's not forget J.D. You know, we're not kicking him to the side. We're just bringing some more soldiers in for the war ahead. And Mr. Moreno, Rochester, New York, loves Trump, Vance, and RFK. Let's do it. MAGA and Maha. I love that they put that. Maybe get a red hat and say Maha on it. Let's see. Oh, there's one more. Mike McCarthy as well. Love the MAGA team. All right, everybody. Thank you very, very much for taking some time on a Sunday afternoon. Like I said, I'm going to be traveling. I'm here tomorrow. Tuesday we'll be traveling, and so you'll see a little bit different, but I'm still going to bring it. Join me tomorrow. I think we're going to go live at 11 o'clock. I'm sure more and more information is going to probably break, even though it's a Sunday. It's still stuff happening. And then Trump he's speaking tomorrow. Listen to this. He's speaking tomorrow at the National Guard Association. And they invited Kamala at the National Guard Convention. And she said, nah, I ain't going. Unbelievable. All right, talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great Sunday evening. Spend the rest of your day. It's only 5 o'clock, so get out there and have some fun. Thank you very, very much.